So I had a rough time at work this week, and I'm looking for an easy target. So this piece of crap is running Windows Vista, and it's a match made in heaven? They're very well suited for each other. It's crap hardware with crap software. Now you may be wondering, how bad was Windows Vista really? You have to be just following the hate train and the meme. Well, I'll tell you, when Windows 7 came out, Windows XP was still the most used OS. Everyone just skipped this because if today has been any indicator of how bad it was, I would have just gone back to Windows 98 if I had to. So this is an HP pre-built running some Phenom X4. So it's a 4-core CPU, no hyper-threading. We kind of gave up on that back in that era for some reason. And it's a Phenom 1 as far as I know. Now, you may be wondering, well, what's a Phenom 1 versus a Phenom 2? Phenom 2 is actually worth talking about. The Phenom 1s were terrible, and they had this weird bug with Windows. Bugs. Windows Vista. So this thing has 8 gigabytes of DDR2 RAM, pretty good actually, and integrated graphics from NVIDIA. Not AMD, not Intel, NVIDIA. So let's just dive right in and talk about why I hate this thing. So what is Windows Vista and how did we end up here? What terrible chain of events led us here so soon after Windows ME was still a thing? Well, actually it wasn't that soon, and that's part of the problem. Back in the day, Windows came out like every 3 years, almost like clockwork. 3.1, then you had 95, 98, Windows ME, Windows 2000, and then you had XP, the golden one. So the problem was that they got kind of ambitious, and that's something that happens in the tech industry sometimes. Look at Intel and their 10 nanometer process if you want an example from this decade. They try to do too much at once, and they kind of got distracted and just disorganized. So development started in 2001, and they called it Longhorn at the time. But it just kind of was a disorganized mess. And Apple came out with their new OS, and it looked way better than anything we had. So they had to restart development, and that's usually a bad sign. You think of things where you have to restart because of how poorly drawn out it was prior. You think of like Duke Nukem 3D or
Coil Line videos?
We're trying. So that was already like kind of a bad omen. Like, oops, we kind of messed up, so let's keep messing up with a new name. So this finally rolls around in like 2007, and everyone's excited. Finally, a new version of Windows. It looks really pretty compared to XP. We've got transparency and bubbles and all this cool. We've got bubbles.
Bubbles.
Sorry, just the bubbles screensaver is probably like one of the best things ever. I need to see if I can rig this on Windows 10.
Name a more iconic duo: Bubbles and Windows Vista.
Windows Vista and crap. So again, they did a lot of new development for Windows Vista, and that's part of where the reputation for being an unstable, duct taped together disaster comes from. First of all, the transparency, while gorgeous, requires actually some graphical hardware. And the biggest problem was at the time, all of those integrated, well, it wasn't integrated on die really, it was on the motherboard. All those Intel graphics that your mom and dad and your boss and everyone else had for their cheap computers couldn't handle the aero transparency effect. Big miscommunication. And all those computers shipped with stickers that said Windows Vista ready. So, okay, it's ready. And you put it on there and it runs like crap and it looks like crap. So like, why are you doing this?
It's like Cyberpunk.
That was the other example. Things that got restarted and took too long.
Oh god.
Cyberpunk. So on top of the much heavier OS, people didn't want to upgrade their computers too much at the time. We had a rewrite of a lot of the core systems. So your drivers had to be written in a different way. It wasn't the same thing anymore. Like, how you could install Windows 8 drivers kind of on Windows 10 and get away with it sometimes, and back 7 to 8 and whatever. Well, you could not put XP drivers on Windows Vista. And like NVIDIA and stuff at the time, they didn't really have enough time to polish everything, because this was kind of like a weirdly late yet rushed process, kind of like my job. And you ended up with drivers that just crashed. So that's part of where the reputation comes from. Windows Vista is supposedly a lot easier to run and nicer to run on a more mature hardware system. And there's this thing. Now this thing is way faster than Windows Vista needs. Let's start with that. Windows Vista was like, what, a Pentium D, Pentium 4 for a lot of people. 1, maybe 2 cores running as hot as possible and trying to, warp your PC case. This is a 4-core processor, 8 gigs of RAM, man. This is crazy. I tried to run Windows Vista on a Pentium 4 and 512 megs. Still runs like crap. You can't explain it. You can't explain it. So we dug this out. We tried to reformat it, and we tried to give it a real honest shot. Nothing works. You want to see how badly nothing works? Well, let's talk about updates. Everyone goes, Vista's not so bad with the service packs. Okay. Let's go ahead and put a Actually, that's a feature, by the way. You can't Windows key and search back on XP. That's a feature I like. Thank you, guys. So let's try and check for updates. Could not search for new updates. Error code. Get help. It's trash. Yeah, it's just trash. So I can't even update it to a better pack with more stability and features. And this is from a fresh reinstall from the recovery partition. So let's go on the website and try and download the update manually, right? That's what you do. So let's Internet Explorer. Now we didn't have Windows Edge yet. That was a Windows 7 feature. So Google.com. By the way, this you'll see what happens in a minute here. This took forever to get to work at all. Windows Vista Service Pack. Hey guys, it says error on page. What could that be? Sure, look. Display the content. There's toolbars everywhere, and it looks like garbage, and it runs like garbage. No, I need to manually install it. I can't even click on the Microsoft website. I think they gave up. I would have too. Let's try it in Chrome. Nope, Chrome doesn't work. You want to see that again, Slow-mo? You can't. It doesn't even give you an effect. It just doesn't work. Ugh. So websites half the time don't work. They don't display properly, or they just won't load anymore. Your applications won't load anymore. Let's try Steam. Maybe we can try some gaming? Nope. This is me trying to mod Steam to get around it. Still no. I mean, I'm sure if you try it hard enough, you might be able to get it to work, but I mean, Valve might be fighting you at this point. The workaround used to work in like 2019, but it's well past that at this point. Let's talk about some of the good stuff, right? We got bubbles. We got the sidebar. Oh man, I remember when this came out. I saw this in magazines at the time. I'm like, ooh, that looks so cool. Let's turn on the CPU meter. Yeah, sidebar. Stocks are topical right now. Let's check out the stocks. Nope. AOL HP Daily Scoop. Nope. Feed headlines. Nope. So, Alt tab. That's what we always did, right? But Windows tab. You can actually do something like this on Windows 10. But why would you? Like, you hit Windows tab and it doesn't actually tab. Like, you Alt tab and it switches without holding it down. Windows tab doesn't. It just wastes the time. It looks really cool, and it made your computer lag really badly back in the day. So, at least in Windows 7, they introduced the whole snap thing, I grew up without it, but I've used it long enough now where I'm trying to multitask, and I'm like, just snap to the left. It won't do it. You just want to open 2 windows at once. So we've also got Windows Ready Boost, and I don't know if any of you guys have had a computer that just awful, but I did, and man, this was a lifesaver. So you open your flash drive, and then you realize your flash drive is also garbage, so you have to buy a new flash drive too. And you go down to Ready Boost, Ready Boost, and you say use this. Now, it's current year, and I've got like a 64 gig flash drive I got for like, $10. But back in the day, I had like a 512 meg flash drive. So selecting up to 4 gigs was pretty nice. Now, you may be going, how's a flash drive helping anything? It's USB 2. It's slow. Well, so is your hard drive. And we didn't have SSDs. And part of the problem with Vista was that it used all your RAM, which it should. You should use your RAM. It's why you bought it. It used a prefetching system. They call it Superfetch. It's still part of Windows today. A little more tuned, though. And it basically pulls files off your drive, puts it into RAM, and hopes that that's what you're going to need next to try and speed things up, because spinning Rust. So if you don't have a lot of RAM, you use your flash drive, and while being slow, it's still better than spinning Rust. So don't even try to do that on a modern computer. I think you can do it on Windows 10 if you try hard enough. You can definitely do it on 7, but it's just going to slow you down more than anything. It's really meant for Rust drives. And yeah, this is the era where we started getting those weird hybrid SSDs. Who thought that was a good idea? Half-assing two things, just whole ass each thing separately. So one of the other features was we got Windows Defender and user account control, which, you know, was to combat the ever-growing threat of your grandma downloading, was it Tojams, Trojans, whatever, you know, cookie clicker and illegal download links for baking recipes. I don't know. It was a wild time back then, and there was no protection. So you may be familiar with user account control on modern computers. You go to install something, and so you get, you know, these pop-ups, and you're like, yeah, go ahead. But Windows Vista wanted to lock this thing down tighter than like the North Korean border, DMZ, whatever. This was bad. I swear I would go to open a built-in application. Like, well, let me open Internet Explorer. Are you sure? Did you really want to open Internet Explorer? Are you human? Please check on the trees. Are these trees? Which pictures have trees? It was awful. Like, everyone just started turning it off, and then grandma just started downloading crap again. Yeah, actually, that was the problem. Like, we all got fed up and we just turned it off, or we went back to XP, so nobody was secure.
Everybody was running around without protection.
I don't want to make a seatbelt joke because you should wear your seatbelts, but it's like you put on a seatbelt and it covers one of your eyes and like wraps around your neck. I really don't know if this is helping anything. I don't know. I'm running out of nice things to say about it because like it's got bubbles, it looks pretty, and it's got a start menu search, and that's really all I've got to say nice about it. You got the crashes, you got the slowness. It broke your sound cards for old games. You actually want to go and play an old game with like reverb and EAX? Vista got rid of it. So you actually got to run a Windows XP retro computer to enjoy your games the way they're meant to be played. Gab, do you think Vista killed sound cards?
Maybe.
Oh, that's sad. It's got 15% of the CPU being used. Now, I don't know if that's from the bubbles or the 85 speedometers I put up, but... Oh, man. So yeah, you can't launch Discord, you can't launch Steam, you can't launch Spotify, you can't launch Origin. You can't launch anything anymore. But what if you could? What if I can get past all that and just play a game? Well, I'm not buying anything on GOG because I'm poor. I spent all my money on Windows Vista hardware. But I do have a game that we could play. Half-Life 2. No, I do not want Norden. Never want Norden. Never get Norden. Oh my gosh, it was the bubbles. It's not... The bubbles used like 10% of my CPU usage. All right, so let's try and play Half-Life 2 on here. I mean, I'm rocking integrated NVIDIA graphics, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know how fast this thing is. What is a 9100 equal to? Hey, Gab, do you do any looking into how fast is this? Does this beat anything?
A 210.
It's as fast as a 210.
In theory, yeah.
Oh dear. That's like if Intel sold you a DGPU that's as good as the integrated. Wait, aren't they doing that this year? So I'm going to launch Half-Life 2 at 1080p, which this thing probably never expected to see, at all low settings, because this is the Steam version of Half-Life 2, and it's actually harder to run than launch, but again, I don't own a disk copy. Half my computers don't even have disk drives. I don't know what the bottleneck here is. Is it the fact that it's on a flash drive? But I'm like, it has to be faster than the internal drive, right? Is it the RAM? You got plenty of RAM. The CPU. The game's like 6 gigs. I could launch this. I could run this entire game at once into my RAM on Windows 10 with a modern CPU, and it would take 10 seconds. Alrighty. I don't have Steam. How do I view my FPS? We're kicking it old school. When did I... Uh-oh. Do I want to run Fraps? You have a license for that, mate. Man, he is ready to go. Ah, my lord. Do I make a political joke right now? Oh, guys. I'm getting 45 FPS. It runs Half-Life. You'd probably be able to get 30 in a firefight. Oh no. No. I don't know. I'm actually kind of out of things to say about Vista. You can run Half-Life 2 and it won't die, but you don't have like DX11 support, you don't have DX12 support, you don't have anything really worth talking about except for the bubble. This is why people downgraded. Actually, I think for a while, manufacturers would ship computers with Vista on them, but they'd offer you a service to downgrade back to XP. Microsoft did not like that, but they kind of had to roll with it after a while. Nobody wants this. Nobody wants you. Speaking of things that nobody wants, let's not make Gab cry. Subscribe. So if you guys like to see more content like this, make me suffer through more Windows Vista shenanigans or ME or something, you know. Whoa, no, I'm not doing both. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. That's going in the dumpster too. You're going in the dumpster too. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit me up in the Discord. If there's anything I missed, let me know. I love hating this. This made my week simultaneously worse and better. Just like reading your comments. Shh. No more tears now. Only dreams.